Hello and welcome back to our final video, actually for the course, because next week we're going to work on the final. So you won't have any videos to watch, you'll just have work to do. I'll still be available. You can text me, reach out to me or whatnot if you need any help. But in this video, I want to go through problem 13-6b, which coincides with your problem 13-6a. Now, the first part asks for us to calculate ratios, right? I'm not going to go through that. The simple fact is because we did that in our last video, and I think you got a pretty good, I hope you have a pretty good understanding of how to calculate those, what numbers to pull. If you have questions though, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to, to go through any questions you have. So what we're going to work on in this video is really part B, which says calculate common size percentages for each year's income statement. What I did was I went ahead and created the income statement, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take each item, cost of goods sold, gross profit, administrative and selling expenses, EBIT, interest expense, earnings before taxes, income tax, net income, and we're all going to show those as a percentage of sales. So if I take my sales for 2016 and divide by my sales for 2016, I should, and I do, end up with 100%. That makes sense, okay? Next thing I'm going to do is figure out what are my cost of goods sold as a percentage of sales. So I just divide. That's all I really have to do. I end up with 64.9%. I do the same thing with gross profit. What is gross profit as a percentage to sales? Well, that's easy. I just divide gross profit by sales. I get 35%, or I'll move it out one and say 35.1%. I do the same thing with the selling and the administrative expenses. I just divide. Oh, sorry. I get 27.2%. Okay? Now let me show you something super duper easy, right? Now I have a Mac, but you could do it on a PC. Okay? Equals, I take my item and I want to lock in this sales number. So I'm going to click on sales. Oh, hold on, bear with me here. B6 divided by that B2 cell, and I'm going to hit function. Well, I'm going to hit your F4 key. Notice you have dollar signs before the column and before the row. That locks it into place. That tells Excel, the cell that I'm in now, which is C6, I want you to go over one, take that value, and divide it by cell reference B2. Okay? I get 8%. If I click and drag now, notice what I did. Each line goes to cell reference B2. Okay? Let me show you another. Let me do it again. Okay? So we have to do this comparative analysis, which basically just takes each line item and compares it to sales, right? What percentage of each of these items are to sales, okay? I'm more worried about the functionality of Excel now, because I think that concept's pretty simple, right? You just divide. So I'm going to divide sales by this number, or sales by sales, right? D2 divided by D2. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say cost of goods sold divided by this cell reference D2. Hit enter. Okay, 67%. Right? Watch what happens when I click and drag. Okay, here's the problem. This cell, I said go over 1, go up 1. Or go over 1, get that value, and divide it by the cell above it. I did the same thing here. Gross profit took D4 and divided it by D3, which is cost of goods sold. That's wrong, okay? So, do it this way. Okay, so by locking in that cell reference, I'm going to go over 1. I'm going to divide by D2, and I want to lock that in. So I'm going to hit my F4 key until I get those dollar signs. And there they are. Now they have to be under both, in front of both the row and the column. If not, if you only have one dollar sign, it's going to lock in one row, and the columns are going to change, or vice versa, okay? So now I'm telling each of these cells, go over 1, take that value, divide it by the top. So again, just wanted to show you how to use Excel and how it's pretty easy, right? When I did the first one, it took me forever to do it, right? If I know how to use Excel and I lock in a cell reference that I always want to divide by, it was quick. So now we could do the fun part, the analysis part, right? So we know what common size is. We're taking each item and dividing it by some specific key value. Here it's cells. So look what happened in between 15 and 16. In 15, cost of goods sold was 66.7% of sales based on 2015. 2016, it went down, okay? Look at our net income. Net income also went down, right? Based on a percentage. Net income percent to sales is 4.2% in 2016. 2015, it's 4.7%. Okay, so we could compare each of these to see how well we're doing, right? Again, this allows us to take 2 different years or 2 different companies, right, of different sizes, and we can analyze them based on the common size financial statements. Okay, so that's it for chapter 13. You're good to go to do your homework. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to text me. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you, set up one of these big blue button sessions, and walk through some calculations if you need it. Okay, so thanks a lot, and I'll be talking to you in the next couple weeks.